Welcome to Opinions in 10, online posts and biblical opinions in under 10 minutes. Starting now. Okay, today's post is from Mother Ad 8227. My boyfriend, who's a 26-year-old man, says that he doesn't think that he should feel grateful to me, a 25-year-old female, for what my mom did to help him. My family is on the wealthier side, while my boyfriend doesn't get much support from home. Long story short, when I went to college, he came to live with me, and a year later, started college himself. We live in an apartment that belongs to my family, and my mom never made him pay for anything, no rent, no utilities. I never told him that I asked my mom not to ask for money from him. She wouldn't have anyway. She really likes him and wanted to help. But today we had an argument, and the topic of what each of us did for the other came up. I mentioned that I helped him get his university degree. He asked what I meant specifically, and the truth slipped out. Now he shut down, says he doesn't want to talk and has to think. He also said that he doesn't think he should feel thankful to me for what my mother does for him, since she is a completely different person. I have always thought that it was only logical that my mother helps him because of me, because we are together, and I love him. But apparently not. Am I the weird one here for thinking this way? Is his reaction warranted? I don't understand why this is such an earth-shattering revelation. Okay, well, first of all, living together is never a good idea for the same reason that a handshake agreement isn't a good idea. There's nothing holding you accountable, and there's nothing to be accountable to. If you are not willing to at least go to the courthouse and get married, then you're just pretending that you are, and that's fakery. But to move on to other issues, namely the one that this post is about, what you have described here seems to contradict itself several times. I'm sure there's no need to run back through the story a second time, but just to be absolutely clear, let's do just that. You and your boyfriend moved into an apartment that your family owns. Your mother likes your boyfriend, and thus had already determined that she was not going to charge him anything for expenses including rent, utilities, etc. Then you agreed with your mother's decision not to charge him for anything and reaffirmed it. You then added that you didn't want him to know that you agreed with her decision not to charge him anything, presumably to not make him feel like he owed anything to you. Sometime after these events, you and your boyfriend had an argument about who does what for who, at which point you told him that you agreed with what your mom had decided to do, and told him that he should be grateful to you for such an action. Now he's shut down and won't talk to you. Okay, so the first thing I have to say here is that when a person is in a situation like this, when they are in a relationship with someone who owns the property in which they are residing, the natural assumption is that they will be staying there for free because he has a relationship to the person who invited him to do so. If it's long-term, such as this situation, it is customary to offer to help with bills, rent, so on. But in the case that the person who owns the property has made it clear that that is not necessary, then you are free from any financial burden. In any case, this was your mother's decision. All of it. She owns the property. She has the right to do with it as she pleases. Your wishes are entirely irrelevant here. The fact that you agreed with her about what she had already decided to do doesn't come into play at all. Now, having a free place to stay can have an effect on getting one's college degree, sure, but to what extent? Surely you would agree that there are a great many people who have not had a free place to stay and have successfully gotten their degree anyway. their ability to study and to know the material associated to that which they are studying has in no way been affected by the fact that their lodging was not free. There can be many variables and factors which play into this, but as a general rule, the cost of where a person lives has little effect on whether or not he gets his degree. But aside from all of this, you did nothing here. None of this comes from you. Your mother is the one with the wealth, the property, the willingness to use it on your boyfriend. The fact that you happen to agree with her about what she should do is irrelevant to any of this. No gratitude at all is owed to you for his living situation. But let's take a closer look at the claim because I don't think you're being quite honest. You originally said that you asked your mom not to let him know that you had asked her to let him live in the apartment for free. The only reason I can think for you to do so is to let him have the dignity of not feeling like he owes anybody. But then you said that you were having a fight about who has done what for who. You pulled it right out to win the fight. This tells me that you didn't care that much about him not feeling like he owed anybody anything. I mean, this was the very subject of the argument by your own admission. You didn't want him to feel like he owes you, but you care about the issue enough to fight about it? Something isn't right with this situation. You seem to have a certain idea that a code of honor and ethics exist, but you don't have the fortitude to follow through with it. But aside from all of this, the fact that you are willing to have this argument at all shows that you aren't in a place where you should be having a relationship. Relationships are about serving each other. They have to be built on that. They don't work any other way. And if you're taking the time to fight over who's done what for who, then you don't get it. In the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, Moses wrote a list of core behaviors that are the opposite of love, which include behaviors which would be characterized as competitive and comparative in nature. He follows all these up with a statement we all know, which reads, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." Jesus takes up the teaching and says that loving God and your neighbor fills all the commandments in the Bible with meaning. In the book of Galatians, Paul and the group who was writing with him says, "By love serve one another, because all of the law is made full in one word, specifically this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, be careful that you are not consumed by one another." The options when it comes to relationships are either to serve each other and have peace, or to compete with each other and never have peace. Every one of us has that choice. We can try to bless the people in our lives, or we can try to be better than them. You have that choice. But if you want to have the peace that comes from this, you're going to need the Messiah. That'll do it for today. If you like this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. God bless.